No.
No.
How are you? Hey, Mr. Rivera.
How are you today? Didn't expect to see you.
Me neither. Glad to be here.
Okay, I'm opening this meeting. It's about the third or fourth meeting we've had of the urban gateways and planning assignments that look at the entryway to Faribault. And what can we do to preserve the beauty that we have and not turn it into Airport Boulevard. We wanted to make it a gateway, attractive continuation of the land that we have, the beautiful entryway to Faribault, and not spoil it. So we're looking at ways of what we can do, and this is all exploratory now. We're not making individual step-by-step decisions with the Planning Commission and with the City Council. This is exploratory. We're trying to get ideas. We're trying to get the input from all the landowners and property owners in this corridor out here, starting at 104 and going south as far as Gafer and beyond to Edwards. And we're looking at both sides of 98. And if you look at this zoning map, street frontage along Highway 98 chart behind me, almost everything is still R1 on both sides of the highway due to the original zoning that occurred there in the 50s. And, you know, gradually it's going to have to change, because who is going to come to this beautiful city and put a home of any magnitude facing a 5-lane? I don't think it's going to work. It just doesn't make sense. So we're going to have to explore all the possibilities of what we can do with this committee. We're going to look at some kind of a 30,000-foot bird's eye view of how this whole corridor could be rezoned, even split zoning, combined zoning, mixed zoning, whatever, to get the endpoint objective that we
certain
want.
things, but that's not highest and best use in terms of the market. You're going to have to set a framework up so that someone can build in it certain kinds of things, but certain things are excluded that are just too ugly.
Mr. Lewis, you're walking right into an established body of law that you cannot make illegal the placement of illegal business. I might hate a hamburger stand, but you can't have in your zoning, there will be no hamburger stands. I mean, you just can't do that.
Well, for example, I had suggested to Dick and to others that my property, which is 36 acres, would be a good CVC, Community Village Center. And it has in it, a part of the definitions is you can't have a hamburger stand, you can't have a service station, you can't have a whole bunch of things that I was thinking, well, now that really is addressing these issues.
That could be addressed as part of the application. I would tell Jonathan the same thing I just told you. You should not be excluding legitimate uses, legal uses.
Brett and I were talking, about the same issue. Can you right now the definition of a CBC is between, what is it, 20 and 40 acres or something, 10 and 40 acres, something like that. But to include the whole section in there in a CBC, what that would do would be to exceed the number of acres that we're talking about. But if we could just have some kind of a variance so that we could just make the entire strip a CBC, you're already there. You basically, nobody can do anything without coming and asking for permission, and make people produce their architecture, make people produce their landscaping plan. I mean, the difficulty with most builders is that they want to spend a nickel on landscaping and put the money on bricks. But that really is, in terms of aesthetics, that's not the best place to put it.
I think Dick just laid out a framework. Ding, 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 ring the bell. Make it a community village center.
Mm-hmm. So use the community village center guidelines in the zoning ordinance in an overlay district.
Right. You bet.
Basically,
you bet.
And
you've got green space. You've got park. You've got 35 acres of of raw land to be incorporated into that. You've got commercial, you've got multifamily,
We just
you've got surrounded by residential.
We just created an overlay district, which worked finally after about 6 cuts with the city council. But anyway, we have a medical overlay district now for our biggest employer in town. There's no reason why we can't do the same thing in an overlay for Greeno. Yes.
May I just ask something, and this sort of maybe puts a sharper pencil on what Fred is asking, and that is there a budget that would be available to pay a consultant similar to what we've had before, either in our original comprehensive plans, in our reviews, our updates, that sort of thing, that could come in and help facilitate the North Corridor? You know, that would be an hourly basis, I would imagine, and I can't imagine it costing too much, but based on what I've heard tonight, I'm not really sure we're focusing on something that will help solve.
I was hoping Rick Greeno was going to be here because he's a member of this committee, and he could answer that question, I'm sure, directly.
Well, and it may be something that Jonathan can run back up through those folks, but I just don't see it as a tremendous amount of money, and it would be a good investment by the city to look at this, and it would help facilitate, because I think there's good that can come from these meetings if they're sort
implemented.
That and the comments are constructive for finding solutions for the landowners and solutions for the city. And the gentleman at the end, who I've not had the pleasure of meeting, but the balancing of this is certainly a big issue. So
you're right. So we'll find out, sir.
Seemed like back,
if there is money.
it seemed like back in the first start of all this.
I'll check into the availability of funds for the possibility of.
I guess this needs to go around.
Maybe a small amount.
Okay, a facilitator.
Facilitator, yeah.
And Auburn is going to be checked into?
Right. I'm going to write the letter.
Okay.
Actually, there's.
And what else? Anything else?
I'll get the Anchor Village report on.
Anchor Village report, and anything else?
And pictures, right? And pictures?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Great. Any other commitments? If not, we are adjourned.